The biggest difference between AAX and .component is just which application is using the file. So I like to think of it as the difference between a PDF file and a Word doc or a Excel doc. It's just different applications use different files. So I'm just gonna go to a plugin I know I don't have that's free. AU is for Logic and GarageBand. It's called Audio Unit. You cannot use VSTs or AAX files in Logic, so make sure if you're downloading stuff for Logic, you do the AU, not the VST or VST3. So you just download. Let's put that here. Cool. So sometimes you'll have an installer that just installs everything for you. But a lot of times, especially with third-party plugins, you're not gonna get that clean installation. You're just gonna have to actually put the plugins in the plugins folder. And this is for you guys who are downloading a lot of third-party plugins. Sometimes the download will come with a components file for Logic in an AAX folder for Pro Tools, and it'll send you directly to those folders. Navigate to that components folder. You'll see all your plugins. And then they should have a .components folder if you're working with Logic or GarageBand, and you just drag it in. I'm just gonna go there manually so you guys can see it. You can go up at the top into Go, and then Computer. Yep, Macintosh hard drive, and then Library, Audio, Plugins, and then you'll see everything in your system, in the Macintosh system. So you'll have your components folder, a couple other folders. So if you ever get to this point where you're needing to download plugins and it's not very straightforward, what you're gonna have to do is navigate to that components folder. Once that's dragged in, you're gonna have to restart Logic or GarageBand, whichever one you're working in. And then once it opens up, you can check and see if it's there. Should be able to go to your audio effects, audio units, and you can see your plugin there. So say that doesn't work, say your plugin isn't in there after you've downloaded it, you can always go under settings and then plugin manager. So this is where all your Logic plugins are at. I don't think you can get to this in GarageBand. That's why Logic is a step above, because you can actually go a little bit further into detail about some of these things that you wouldn't be able to access in GarageBand. So yeah, you can see your plugins. Sometimes, let's see, we got the span that I just downloaded. Sometimes it'll be in here, it'll just be unchecked, and it'll say unsuccessfully validated instead of successfully validated. So what you could do in that case is just click the plugin, reset and rescan selection. And usually when you reset and rescan the plugin, it'll validate properly. There's probably just a hang up in the validation process. So click that, hit done, exit out of Logic. It's always best to restart your computer fully, just to make sure, but it should still pop up if you just close Logic and open it back up. So troubleshooting for components, that's pretty much the way to go. There are some other issues, but I had to figure out how to recreate those issues to be able to show them to you guys. But let me know if you guys have issues or problems with plugins, and I can do a specific video on that. So AAX is going to be strictly for Pro Tools. And like I said, it's usually one of two things when you download plugins. It'll download everything for you and put the plugin in the right folder, or two, you'll get something like this where you have to do it all manually. So this one has a shortcut to the plugins folder for Pro Tools. As you can see, there's tons of plugins in here. So what you're gonna do is have that window open at the same time as the plugin window, the plugin that you're trying to drag in there. Select your plugin and just drag it in. Sometimes you might have to put a password in or something like that. My settings are not set up that way. So once you drag it in, you should be good to open up Pro Tools or wherever you're working and find it. So one big thing for anybody who's working on Pro Tools a lot and you download a lot of plugins and get a lot of free trials. So those free trials always end up causing a lot more of a headache because you have to hit no to load those plugins every time Pro Tools opens up, or Logic. So what you can do in your system, just same thing, go to computer, Macintosh hard drive, library, application support. So instead of audio for Logic, you're gonna go into application support for Pro Tools, and then you're gonna hit Avid, and then under the audio folder you'll see plugins. So these are all the plugins that are being used, and then you'll see an unused folder excuse me, where you can drag in the unused plugins that you have, or you can literally just delete them from here and that'll uninstall them, and you won't have to keep hitting no or bypass plugins that you tried out and they expired. So that was just a quick video for you guys, a quick explanation of the differences between the AAX and component files. If you want to hear more about VSTs, let me know, but usually VSTs are just either standalone plugins or they work in different DAWs, or different applications that use audio, like OBS. Let me know if you have any more questions and I can answer them.